Get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, and welcome to an 82 replay. This isn't going to be a match where I'm going to be massively skilled. This is going to be a match where I'm going to troll all of the things, because the 82 is just funny in that way. I am top tier. It is actually mostly tier 5s on each team. There's a scout, in fact it's a Lux on each side, and 2 artillery. So this is actually remarkably even matchmaking. In fact, even the composition of the teams is remarkably even. 3 heavies, a couple of mediums, and the rest all tank destroyers. So this is very, 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 very balanced indeed. Even the tank destroyers themselves are in fact very, very similar. I think the only difference is we've got an M8A1 to their Wolverine. But otherwise, yeah, this is like matchmaking being weirdly symmetrical. It's not usually this symmetrical. So, because in this situation you can kind of act like a heavy tank almost, I'm just going to trundle into town because the 82 is, in this set of circumstances, rather good at facing off against enemies. Although you still have to be a bit cautious because obviously the 82, like all the British TD line, has got some fairly significant weak spots frontally. So if you come up against enemies that know where to shoot, they can hurt you rather easily, and it's not like you have masses of hit points. 2 or 3 shells from a KV-1, for instance, depending what gun they've got, can really hurt you. Other tanks, if they're fast-firing tanks and they know where to hurt you, I mean, there's a pair of T1 heavies on the enemy team. If they knew where to shoot and they are together, and we'll just check because I think they might be platooned. Yes, they are. The T1 heavies could do a lot of damage very quickly because they're very fast-firing. So I'm trundling into town with some confidence, but I'm not just going to be totally gung-ho. I'm not going to rush in and get myself surrounded because that would be bad. So I've got a KV-1 behind me. There's an M7 and a Stug there as well. The Churchill 3 is sitting by the lakeside for no apparent reason. Not sure. A couple of things in the valley, although they are being way too aggressive. They're pushing over the crest already. That's going to cost them. And there's the T1 heavy, so we know the other T1 heavy is close by. I was kind of like, oh, I'll derp that Lux. No. What's going to happen is that a lot of stuff is going to come at me very quickly at once. Now you see, I do have some backup, but this is going to be... Yeah, look at the T1 heavies. The output of those 2 things is just pow, pow, pow. So I don't want to be too aggressive here. Oh, like this. Right. Because I've also noticed there's a KV-1, and I've decided that I'm not messing around now. It's time for some heat shells, because that KV-1 is right behind me. I have to take care of these heavies. This is a lot of stuff on the enemy team at once. So, again, in the side armour. And it's not like heat shells on this tank are completely overpowered. It's 280 average damage with, now let's see, 110 penetration. So we're not talking like 122mm heat shells here. These heat shells are not exactly overpowered, but they're more than enough for the weak points of those tanks. Don't need it for the T-34 though. Back to the regular HE. That's 3 heavy tanks down, and look, I haven't taken any damage yet. So this is the part where it becomes, yes, indeed, very troll. And I'm just basically, there we go, derping that guy to death. Oh, M7. Okay, next target. And it is just me now, because that KV-1 has managed to die. So, yeah, maybe it was a little bit troll of me to use those heat shells, but I really needed to take out those heavies, because I was the only one there doing any damage, basically. But so here we go, M7 is backing away, but not fast enough. And that's the only damage I've taken so far, was nudging that M7. So there we go, derp shell to the face. More worried about the Wolverine than the Lux, because if it's a derp Wolverine, then that could be a problem. 11 health. See, these shells are not exactly overpowered. Now, I didn't really need to use the repair kit there, but wow, underneath. But I did because I was impatient to kill this guy, apparently. Yeah. This is the kind of situation in an 82 where it doesn't so much matter about skill and everything else. It's just taking care of the high priority targets first lets you deal with the rest at a much more leisurely pace. So now, Top Gun, and I've done 2k damage. This Lux is wisely running away. I think I've done way more than any of the heavies in our team. It was the case, what, there was 10 tanks on our team and their team cumulatively, so it's like 10 tanks enter, 2 tanks leave, and one of them is the Lux, and he's leaving very rapidly. The valley fortunately held, because otherwise I would have had to trundle back, so I now have to basically slowly trundle towards their cap. So yeah, but I think we'll talk for a moment about the heat ammo use though, because I think that is the kind of situation where using some premium ammo is actually justified, because it was... I mean, yes, okay, the armor on this thing is good, but I don't know if it's good enough to hold up while you're being fired at by 3 heavy tanks plus tank destroyers plus whatever else, because there was a T-34 there as well, wasn't there? Yeah, it's the case where if you need to dispatch targets quickly, if you need to do reliable damage quickly with this gun, then the regular HE shells is they're okay, but if you're having to actually reliably do damage, they are less okay, because it's entirely unpredictable how much you're going to do, and these shells, the regular HE, don't pen very often. You have to be shooting against a pretty weakly armoured target to actually pen it. Something like the French tier 5 tank destroyer, or a Hellcat, or whatever, or a lower tier tanks, you can pen them. Can we get the Lux? No. So in that situation, I don't really feel at all bad about using the heat shells, because I needed to get rid of those targets quickly, and I really didn't have much help there, as you can see. The only friendly tanks that were with me died actually very quickly. Even though I took out those two T1 heavies, the KV-1 still managed to just explode in a very short space of time. So that's the kind of situation where, as I've said, you can act as a heavy tank, and with the judicious use of heat ammo, I came out of that nearly unscathed. And on top of that, it was just kind of funny. Going up against that many tanks and coming out with 2 hit points of damage because I nudged the M7. So, yeah, Top Gun, steel wall, and a cool-headed. If I'd had that Lux at the end there, I might have got a Radley Walters medal as well. I got, let's see, 1,300 raw XP with 2,200 damage with the Derp gun. And bear in mind, like I've said, it's not like the heat shells on this thing are horribly overpowered. It's 110 penetration and 280 alpha, so it's actually less alpha than the regular HE shells. And it's really more down to the team composition than and a bit of luck than, I think, consummate skill on my part. I mean, yes, okay, prioritizing the targets was very important in that situation, and thinking to load the heat shells was, I think, what saved me ultimately. But it's like, yeah, that would be a more impressive feat at tier 10 in a different kind of tank, but at tier 5 in the AT2 it's a little bit more commonplace. But it was amusing enough that I decided to share it with you guys and gals all the same. So if you enjoyed this video, you can do the usual. You can hit the like button, you can check out my Facebook page, you can leave a comment below, you can subscribe to my channel, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.